hear feedback, hear thoughts, answer any questions that you might have, and then, like I said, just express appreciation for your support. So that's the main thing. As I think most people know, the Netherlands is our European headquarters, and we do final assembly of the car just right over here in Tilburg. It's worked out very well, and we're very happy to have made that decision. So it's been really great. Let's see. So I'm happy to just take questions, talk about whatever you'd like. It's meant to be kind of a town hall, kind of informal. Have a conversation, ask questions, that kind of thing. So, far away. What would you like to ask?
Well, I have a very specific question for Belgium.
Sure.
As you hopefully know, there is no possibility to charge your car.
Well, I wouldn't say no possibility.
My home is not possible. They said my home is not adapted for Tesla. That's the answer I got.
Did they give you any answer for why? Did they say why?
I asked them what is the specification I need, and I never got an answer on that one as well.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. There's some difficulty charging at the gentleman's house in Belgium. Yeah. JB, do you want to take that?
Yeah, I can maybe talk to a few of the challenges we've run into that we did not expect, so we're sorry for that. That's not how that's supposed to work, of course. There are parts of the grid in Belgium that we've discovered that actually operate a bit more like Norway does. And not to get too technical, but it actually is it's isolated in a way. It's not grounded in the same way that we developed and kind of expected and tested with. So it is able to work. We just need to have a new type of mobile connector for that part of the grid, and also a software update that allows the car to not kind of erroneously fault and think that there's a problem when there is not. So,
do you want to give a timing for when that would be addressed?
Yeah, that software update is already going out to cars in Norway and should be available to people in Belgium in about 2 weeks. So we're hopeful that will fix your problem.
Too big.
I'm a proud owner of a Tesla, and I like to share also. I have a little foundation for car sharing, and it's called Zoom, and I really want to share more things, so also my own Tesla. So I'm really curious if it is possible to have software in the car to make it easier to share the Tesla.
I support the whole idea of sharing, and I think it's a good concept. Of course, we need to make sure that the fundamentals are taken care of before such thing is done. So, of course, we want to make sure that the priority is given to being able to charge effectively and operate the car and have the core functionality of the car keep getting better. We have version 6 of the software, which is currently in beta testing, which I think people will be super excited about. Something we've been wanting to do for a while is to create a software development kit so that people can create third-party applications like sharing. And so you might ask when. As I said, since we're actually still really quite a small company in the grand scheme of things, if you consider, Tesla is maybe at a production rate of about 30,000 cars a year, but you compare that to Toyota or General Motors or Volkswagen that make 10 million cars a year. So sometimes the perception is that Tesla is a company with a ton of resources, but actually we're quite a small company with a small amount of resources. And we've got to make sure that the basic functionality of being able to charge when you want to charge and the car being super reliable and all that stuff has got to take precedence. So that's really our focus right now. And as JP was mentioning, we're finding that there are pretty significant differences in things like electrical grids. Even within Belgium, there's significant differences, or for Norway or Germany. So we're going to make sure we take care of those issues. That's our focus. We're hopeful that you'll be able to do third-party applications next year. So that's our rough target, about a year from now.
can we have navigation for the Netherlands be a little smarter? It really is horrible. This Garmin, it's really terrible. Belgium the same, I hear.
Vincent, to start with here.
So you're saying one should hypothetically include real-time traffic?
No, just smart navigation, that you don't go through the center of town when it's 10 times faster. So
Right.
the Garmin which is in there is not smart enough.
Right. It's actually not Garmin, but it's Navigon is the mapping database. I think what you're alluding to is navigation should look at the true speed of a road, not its theoretical speed. And so I think a good approach here would be to use networked intelligence, have the Teslas communicate with one another and take data sources from other vehicles that are on the road. And when plotting the least time should take the true road segment speed, not the theoretical one.
Yeah, like Tom is doing that, and that way it's a lot more intelligent.
Okay, welcome.
Let's go.
I think you're going to be happy very soon. It's going to be better than TomTom. Shame on us if it's not. So I'm going to. We'll try and cue things up. Yeah. Okay.
Hello Ian, my name is Mark from a leasing company, Mr. Green. We have a question about vehicle to grid. When do you think it will be possible with the Tesla to use vehicle to grid, or when there are possibilities to use vehicle to grid?
JV, you want to take over?
What is vehicle to grid?
Vehicle to grid is we want to sell our energy in our battery to our households.
Yeah, it's actually something that we kind of experimented with as far back as Roadster. The first generation Roadster could actually do that, and the challenge has been really getting a system that made sense, and actually was economic for many people. Right now we're focusing more on doing battery packs that are separate from the vehicle in order to do those same functions for backup power and things like that. And it's a product that we're starting to commercialize in the U.S. It will come to the various parts of the EU soon. But we don't have an immediate plan to make the car power your house or go back and forth in that way.
Okay, and when do you think it's possible to buy a battery pack, an extra battery pack for your households in Europe, like you do now?
Well, it's probably and hopefully towards the end of the year. I'd say next year for sure, and hopefully towards the end of this year. So it's we essentially need to productize the battery pack technology that's in the car for stationary storage in a house. And once we have that done, we'll try to scale up production as fast as we can. I think next year would be a safe bet, and if we're lucky, towards the end of this year. And one other thing I should mention, in the US, this functionality has been there for a while with Slacker, which is the ability to play any song at any time. So you can just hold down the voice button and say play anything, Rolling Stones.
I tried.
Well, unfortunately, Slacker did not have the licensing rights for music in Europe, but we're working with Rdio, and so you'll have that ability very soon to play any song at any time in your cars.
Very good.
In the meantime,
Hi,
we all have Spotify, but I don't download Spotify on the thing.
Yeah, so Spotify is a good option. I mean, you can play it through the Bluetooth is one option, but initially Spotify wouldn't work with us to integrate it into the car, so that in the long term that might change.
Hi Elon, my name is Byron Solopoulos, president of the Tesla Amsterdam Belgium. And we've got about 500 members, and we actually drove with quite a few people here today, so that was really cool. Not to blow more smoke up your ass, because it's not pretty ozone there.
I always wonder, where does that phrase come from? Is that good?
But we really appreciate the car in such a level that many of our members say they will never drive a dinosaur-sucking car anymore. So that's really cool. But here's my question. When I'm driving to a location, I want to know if I can charge there. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking my iPhone and I'm looking for chargers in 3 different apps. It would be really cool if we could just share all the charging spots that are on our Tesla map with each other, so that we know that these are spots that we can really use, and they work with the Model S, and we know what speeds we can charge. That would be like a real cool feature. Maybe I don't know if that's...
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be pretty cool. There are things you can download for like your iPhone or Android, which show charging locations, but it would be much better to have it integrated in the car. Totally agree. It's on our list of things to do for sure. But I should mention with respect to the SuperChargers, we're rapidly increasing the pace at which we're developing the SuperChargers and laying them out, and so. By the end of this year, we expect you can travel almost anywhere in Europe on the SuperCharger. So that, I mean, we're now, I think, about 1 SuperCharger a day, or something, or close to 1 SuperCharger a day. Yeah, during the week, at least. In Europe? In Europe, yeah.
How many are we getting? Thank you. We have 2 now. How many more SuperChargers are we getting in the Netherlands?
Hello, Elon. Hello,
Right.
Elon. I understand.
Okay,
My name is Frederick from Belgium. I have a question concerning the maintenance. On the website it said you can choose maintenance 700 euros roughly 1 time a year, or 4 years in 1 time. It's a bit cheaper then. But why is it so expensive when there's almost no maintenance to do? You check the tires, you check the windscreen fluid. Why? And I already read on internet that you said, yeah, well, Mercedes with the S-Class is 700 euros, so we take that as an example.
I think you've got a good point there. It probably is a bit too high. We'd take a look at it. Yeah. I should say for the warranty, it doesn't matter if you get the annual maintenance. So just to be clear, even if for the purposes of the warranty, you don't need to do the annual maintenance.
Yeah, I know.
So it's
Thank you. And then one more question. My wife wants to go to southern France end of April. Can I get there?
It's going to be close. I mean, I think probably, I wouldn't say 100%, but it's probably going to be.
You'll get there 90% of the way.
Exactly. It's 90% complete. But yeah, for sure by the summer it's going to be a dramatic difference. And I think there was like a specific question about how many in the Netherlands. I'm not sure the exact number offhand, but I expect it to be quite comprehensive because there's a lot of customers in Netherlands and Benelux in general. So it makes sense for us to have a high density of SuperChargers. I don't know the answer offhand, but it's going to be. Here's the goal we want to reach, which is you never have to worry about it ever. So, and we'll get there as fast as we possibly can. So that the car should also say like, if you're headed somewhere and it sees that you might not have enough energy to get to your destination, it should automatically suggest, and here's the closest SuperCharger or potentially other charge location. But we want the SuperChargers to be so prevalent that you don't even have to think about it.
We're planning over 100 SuperChargers throughout Europe this year. That's our goal. And we also need to, I think, update our website and improve that a little bit.
Right. To show like says now and end of year.
Exactly.
not very good granularity.
So we have a coming soon function in the US, and we're going to add that to the European website, so you can get a better sense of when you'll be able to go to southern France or somewhere else.
Meetings to plan and handle.
Yes. Okay. I'm a student from the Technical University of Eindhoven, and we developed the first family car that's powered by solar energy. So not the one-seater car, like really a car you can drive on the road in the Netherlands, certified, and it's also the first car in the world that's energy positive instead of energy consuming.
Okay.
We would really like to show our car in California. help us with that?
Sure. What do you want to do in California?
We want to show the technology, of course. We developed extremely light, aerodynamic, practical, and I think it could be an example for Tesla.
All right. If you want to bring it to Tesla headquarters, I'm happy to take it for a ride and that kind of thing. Sure. Great. All right.
Hello, my name is Robin. I have an internet company in Utrecht, close by. I want to push a little harder on the vehicle-to-grid idea. Because in the Netherlands, but also in Germany, there's a lot of legislation that makes it not very positive to deliver power back to the grid. So it's much more attractive to use the car or a battery system to use the energy yourself. So in Utrecht we are part of a Dutch government project to test several vehicle-to-home systems. And I would really like to know, really like to push Tesla to maybe join this test, because for the Dutch market, people with solar panels on their roof, this would be a very interesting case and make the Tesla Model S and future cars very, very attractive.
Will you do that?
And maybe I should have started this, but first of all, I would like to thank you for your great product you made. I've been driving Nissan Leaf for 2 years. And when you then get into the Model S, you see it's really next level. It's really very good what you did. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, like I said, with the vehicle-to-grid, I mean, it's something that could be cool, but we have to focus on the core elements of the technology. So it's we wanted the car to be just perfectly reliable with exactly the right feature set, and be able to charge anywhere, and that's really what we want. So
it's worth noting, maybe one thing that you can definitely do, and we're trying to make it easier in software, is to use the energy when you generate it to charge the car.
Yeah.
That doesn't require any special hardware or special configuration, but it's more flexible, and you can store the solar energy if you're at home during the day,
right,
or any part of the day. And that's basically free, and it saves you money.
Right, exactly.
Hi, my name is Jan Willem Heijden. I'm almost a Tesla owner, not yet. I had a question. If I look at the battery size of Tesla Model S, 85 kilowatt hours, look at the charge rate of a supercharger, you could be doing 2C, which is about 170 kW. Why is it 110? What is limiting you, and where are we going to in the future?
Debbie, you want to talk about
Yeah, well, 2C is pretty darn fast. That's really pushing it on some of the different systems. We're absolutely trying to push the envelope and charge as fast as we possibly can. We've actually increased it quite a bit since we first delivered the cars. And we do have a roadmap to improve that as we develop improved battery packs and better cooling systems. But today we're going about as fast as the cars can really go. We might be able to stretch it up to about 135 kilowatts, and we're starting to roll some superchargers out that can do that. But right now it's kind of right at the matched limit of what the battery in the car can accept, the cooling system in the car, and the superchargers themselves. So it's pretty well balanced.
So it's chemistry where we're talking about, and not anything else. It's chemistry, which is
right. Exactly.
Yes,
it's chemistry. Exactly. It's the challenge is we wanted to not cause degradation of the pack. So you can in principle charge at a 2C rate, but it would have an impact on the cycle life of the pack. So you basically charge at maybe 1.5C or something like that, without having meaningful degradation. And it also depends on the temperature and state of charge of the pack, because as you get to a high state of charge, it's kind of like, as I'm sure you probably know, it's like trying to fill a glass of water down to the last drop.
Yeah.
And so you have to slow down to make sure it does it right.
Okay. So are we in the future 14, 15 going towards 200 kilowatt?
Where we see it sort of settling out for probably a few years is around the 135 kilowatt level that JD mentioned. Now 135 kilowatts is a lot. I mean, it's a typical house is doing 2 kilowatts. So this is like a lot of power.
But could you talk about the next generation batteries? That would be interesting, I think.
Well, I think there's not. We don't expect there to be a giant change in batteries for probably the next 4 or 5 years, maybe 5 years, I'd say. There'll be moderate, small improvements, but not giant improvements. 10 years from now, I think it could be a different story. But I think most people will find that at the 135 kilowatt level, that's really charging fast. So you're, you're charging at several, 600 kilometers an hour. So that kind of thing. So yeah. Also, a small note for those that are sort of sticklers for the kilowatt hour level in terms of the supercharging. The superchargers right now are tuned to be fairly conservative, so it's all about like being super safe. And then as we get better at this and we can monitor the data from the field, we'll start tuning it up towards the maximum rate. So if you see it being a little bit less than 120 kilowatts, it's because we're being very conservative in the beginning. But you can expect over time that all the stations will be actually 135, or right around there. And most of the stations in Europe will be 135 because okay.
Hi, my name is Pauline van der Voort, and I love our Tesla, but I don't like the hassle with the charging cables. So I wonder whether it is possible in the future to inductive charge the car.
We've had a lot of conversations on the inductive charging front, and I think I'll pass over to JV, but my guess is smart conductive is going to win over inductive. Inductive sounds cool, but you have to be the two plates have to be very close to one another. The two inductors essentially have to be very close to one another, and so small changes in that gap have a big effect on the ability to charge.
Yeah, it's an efficiency hit too. That's one thing that we've sort of struggled with, talking to many companies and also doing some development internally on this ourselves. And I think the big win in that system is not having to fight with cables, not having to take extra time. When you go somewhere, you don't have to worry about water or salt or ice or anything. So we are working internally on some kind of solution that solves those same problems.
But Belgian University has developed a system with 90% efficiency for contactless inductive charging, even while driving. Would you be interested in such a system or to develop this together with them?
90% is pretty bad, actually. For a conductive coupling, so it's a 10% loss in efficiency of your car. That's kind of the same thing that we've been seeing in many other technologies in parts of the world. And it doesn't feel like quite the right trade-off yet to reduce the whole vehicle's mileage or increase your entire energy usage by 10%. So that's the trade-off right now.
Yeah, and going back to what I was saying earlier, right now we've got to stay just super focused on making sure that people's cars work reliably every time, that you can do long distance travel, and that core functionality like smart routing, internet radio, and doing things like a software developer kit that allows people to come up with all sorts of ideas to improve the car. Those are kind of our priorities right now.
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm the CEO of Electude. I would say the best e-learning automotive company in the world. We currently teach 100,000 car mechanics in the US, Europe, China, and I'd like to know how you teach your technical staff.
Sure. In our case, I think a good way to do it is to pair people up so that you have someone who's experienced with the car and someone who's less experienced with the car. And it's sort of like an apprentice trainee program. That's how we do most of our training. And we also have training videos and an initial sort of training class. But I think where we are right now is we're just kind of figuring it out. So we're still in the small scale and figuring out better ways to do it.
To whom should I talk?
Probably, I'd say probably Kim. I set up Netherlands here. So, all right.
Hello again.
Okay.
Here, down here.
Sorry, okay. It's impossible to bloody speakers.
Follows on there.
Yeah.
Very simple question. At the moment, when I plug the cable in at night, it asks what time would I like to start charging, and I'm not sure if that's the right question. It should be asking me what time I plan to leave. So that when I get in my car and say 7 o'clock in the morning, I plan to drive away, the battery's full at 6:45, the seats are warm, the air conditioning's on, and everything's defrosted, and the battery pack's on.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, you're right. See, this is why we come to these events. It's like, we don't actually, we just get ideas and then we're like, oh, okay. All right.
Elon, first of all, thank you very much for being an inspiration to many entrepreneurs, including me. I have a question about your future strategy. You've talked about how Tesla is currently production constrained, not demand constrained. What's the role of licensing for Tesla's strategy going forward?
You mean like licensing the battery pack or motor and that kind of thing?
Yes, and also the infrastructure, so supercharging. I think you're working with Mercedes on the B-Class.
Yeah, so we have a program coming out with the Daimler for electric B-Class program where we make the battery pack, motor, power electronics, and all that stuff. We have an ongoing relationship with Toyota for the electric RAV4. It's not, I mean, we're certainly open to licensing, but what we've found is that a lot of the difficulty is actually just in making it and making it right. So we found like other automakers, they've not been really interested in licensing because then they don't know what to do with the license. So then, then we end up making it. But and the biggest challenge really for Tesla is trying to figure out focus. So because we, as being still a relatively small company, we can only do a small number of things, and so anything if we want to add something to the plate, then something else has got to come off. And since the most critical thing is ensuring super reliable electric cars that can go wherever people want, that's what we're focused on. And then getting from the Model S to refine the technology, get to the 3rd generation vehicle. I think the biggest effect that Tesla will have will be to spur the other manufacturers to create compelling electric cars. Yep. That's the biggest good. If you say, what's the fundamental good that Tesla, that will probably be the biggest good that we do is to spur the other manufacturers to go electric sooner than they otherwise would.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Hi, my name is Martin.
Yeah, exactly.
So lots of Belgian love around. I'm from the Tesla Club Belgium as well. Not going to put sunshine up your ass again, but thank you for your leadership and all the good things that you innovate and finally deliver a product that can actually stand on its own. One thing I would like to put out maybe up front is, what is your take on the Eco App? I'd like to see the Tesla Eco App. We're doing a hell of a job with the Tesla Club Belgium and the Aero Club to actually bring up the level and try to encourage people to chime in with ideas, apps, and all those kind of crazy things. So could we please maybe have some more speed on that and trying to increase again the delivery? I mean, the product is great. We can even make it better with the community.
Yep.
Could you please warm up and give us your take on that?
So, I'm not sure I totally understood the question.
Could you please increase the Eco App, so the community that we have? Because for the moment, we try to engage with the people on social media. We try to encourage, maybe the engineers to actually open up a bit more with the developers, the freelancers, and the community. So I see a great perspective over there, a great, future.
Sure.
But for the moment, just the way we see it is a bit, not that you are reluctant, but you're very careful. So maybe we could put some more speed on that and try to maybe build some trust over the month and try to deliver something even better. So, there are a lot of good brains over there. You're obviously the brain of the operation, but we follow your lead and we like to have, more Eco Hub system building up. Eco Hub, so ecosystem, ecosystem. I'm working on a German project, and we have it's a best-known project with the Eco Hub ecosystem, and that's how we are even more successful. So I work as a freelance for them, but I would like to translate maybe that into Tesla, and try to build up with all the people here. I mean, ask them here, it's a tunnel, right? How much time do we have left? So can we go around and build on those ideas?
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
My name is Rolf. I'm also a Tesla driver, and I have a question about the tune-up that you're going to do in Germany for the Autobahn. I wonder if it's going to be available for Dutch people too.
Yeah, it will. Yeah.
And when will that be the case?
So we're just
What happens here?
Essentially, well, I mean, it may or may not be something that people want. It will tighten up the suspension, so it'll be a little stiffer. So it sort of depends on whether you want a kind of a stiffer ride or not. But if you want it, it will be available. It's going through validation right now. So we're expecting probably 3 months, thereabouts. But like I said, it may not be. It's really meant for, you know, if somebody's going on the Autobahn quite a lot and they're doing a lot of high-speed travel, and so it's going to be a little bit more optimized for that as compared to, say, city or you know, slower city or normal highway driving.
Okay, clear answer.
Sorry?
What's the speed difference?
Well, no, there's no top speed difference. So it's really a suspension. It's changing certain elements of the suspension.
No higher top speed.
No, we've talked about that,
But yeah, the Autobahn package is focused on handling.
Yeah, it's handling. Yeah, it's high speed handling.
210 is not so fast. He wants higher speed.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, we know it's a constraint, and you know we are kind of understanding and trying to work on what we can do to improve that.
It's a tricky one because So
Have you done your own car?
no, my car. I try to have my car be exactly what customers experience.
Hi guys, my name is Ron. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. I'm still waiting for my Tesla, so therefore I may have a question that's a bit different from the others.
Right.
There's a lot of rumor going on, at least on the Dutch forum, about the quality of the paint. Do you expect it to improve?
Soft.
Is it soft? Okay, it's the first comment I've heard on that front. I mean, I'll have to look into it because actually this is the first I've heard of anything like that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on the forum,
Okay.
and practically everybody advises you when you get your Tesla delivered, drive to a specialist at once and get a nice coating on it or something like that, and you should do that twice a year for about
Really?
$1,000.
I'm not sure that's true, but I'm going to look into it, but this is the first I've heard of anything like that, so I think you're probably going to be okay, but I'm going to check into it and find out if there's anything like that. Literally the first I've heard of it, so.
I trust you, but sure.
I have my Tesla already, and I'm not planning to go to a specialist. Thank you for the beautiful car. I'd like to stress that it's very important. My name is Kees Brandjes. I'm an architect, and I think it's very important to have this opportunity to make this intelligent grids. And I think that the Tesla car, I'm the third person who says so. I think this is a very important issue. So I'd like to stress about that. The other point is, in the 19th century, we had stagecoaches and they changed horses all the time. When are we going to change batteries which are very quickly loaded, and the supercharger, instead of an hour, we can have this changing in several minutes. When is it going to be?
So for the battery pack swap, we're planning on doing that initially as a trial between San Francisco and Los Angeles. So hopefully that should be up and running in the next few months. And then we're going to see what the level of customer demand is. If people are using it a lot, then we'll expand it. And if they're actually just prefer charging, then we'll keep it relatively limited to certain geographies. I mean, obviously, as the charging gets better, the need for pack swap is much less. So it kind of is a bit of a race between the two. Okay. All right.
Hi, my name is Johan Meerlijks from Belgium. My question is related to here. So concerning the ecosystem.
They don't know what is an ecosystem.
No, I know what an ecosystem is. I don't know what an eco app is.
All right.
But you said that next year you will be distributing an SDK. Is it the purpose to exclude the other ecosystems like Android and iOS, which have an enormous opportunity, creativity to interact with us, with apps?
Well, I mean, our goal is not to be exclusionary. It's really just to have a great car. I mean, there's some interesting possibilities that are coming out with Android and iPhone. If you're familiar with this projected mode that they're talking about, where you can essentially project stuff from your phone to the car's display. So I think something like that would be interesting. Would open up to a broad range of applications that you can then write to iPhone or the Android, and have it essentially project to the screen and have a means of interaction as well. So I think we're likely to do that. I mean, that's on our roadmap as well. So we want to do that. I mean, in the beginning, when we were designing the software for the car, we thought, well, maybe we should be on the Android system. I met with Andy Rubin, and he advised against it because they just weren't ready. So we didn't have a choice. We had to write our own platform, because Apple wouldn't talk to us, and Android was advised against it. So that was our only option, was to build our own platform to have something that was good.
Okay, against your will, it will be more or less a closed system then.
No, I think it's. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that's car specific. That's, that it doesn't make sense to transition that to a phone platform. And the phone functionality and app functionality will probably be available through projected mode. That's and then we'll try to enable people to write software for the Tesla ecosystem, if you will. But like I said, there's a lot of things that we'd like to do, but we have to decide what is critical to do. So a lot of times people think like we're not doing something because we just don't want to do it. That's not the issue. We have to say we have a very finite amount of resources. What are the most critical things that we have to do? And that's what we spend our resources on.
What about the shadow mode charger? When is it coming?
We're in testing on it now. We haven't quite started the ramp-up production yet, but we want to make sure it's really right and not deliver something that's not perfect and doesn't function very well. So we're
3 months, 6 months,
maybe even a little sooner than that. We're aiming, I guess, about 3 months. Yes, about April.
Yeah, I mean, something we want to do. We found is that when you have tens of thousands of cars and products out in the market, it's important to test things for an extended period of time and test them in large volume.
3 months is great.
Okay, 3 months is great, good. When we were doing the Roadster, there was a problem that was like 1 in 1,000, and then there was only 2,500 cars worldwide. Okay, there'd be 2.5 problems, right? But when you have like 30,000, going to 50 or 100,000, now suddenly 1 in 1,000 has a much bigger impact and so I mean, there was a case recently, I won't go into too much detail, where we made 100 samples and all 100 samples worked fine. But that was because the probability of something going wrong was more than 1 in 100. And so then we thought, oh, everything's great, we'll just go into full production, and we started seeing these issues. So now we're doing a much bigger sample set to test it out before it goes into production. It does slow down when something goes into production, but we want to make sure that when something gets delivered to customers, it really works.
Yes, hi, Elon. We're talking about Straubel charging now, but the European Commission has chosen to go for the Type 2 DC standard. And I was wondering, when is Tesla coming with its adapter for it?
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with all the different standards. It's kind of crazy. Even in North America, there's a brand new standard, where there isn't a single instance of that standard installed yet for DC charging. So fundamentally, the key though is that even with the new European DC charging standard, the Tesla vehicle itself can be compatible. We just need to decide if it's worth building a new adapter and interface to the car so that you can plug into those type of systems. I think we'll wait until we see how prevalent it is and how many get installed, and then decide how and when we want to engineer that system. But we worked hard when we built the car to make sure it was universal and could work with any DC charging type of system, and the CTO adapter is a good proof of that. So it's much slower than supercharging, so it's not quite as convenient, and usually you have to pay for it.
Other than that, it's great.
Yes.
When is it after coming to Europe?
Hello, Elon. I'm Arjan Heinen. I'm a happy, I was a former Volvo XC60 driver. I choose this car because it has an advanced adaptive cruise control system. When can I have this in my Tesla?
Well, you certainly agree that that's a good feature to have.
Version 6.0.
Yeah, I mean, we do need like a camera or a radar or something, but I agree that that's a feature worth having. One of the hardest things for us was deciding what features not to include in the first version of the car or first versions of the car, because if we piled everything on, then we would just never have gotten to production. But I do agree that that's an important feature we should have for down the road.
Because I use this car really a lot. I have driven now, I have now 2.5 months and almost driven 10,000 kilometers. I miss it.
So they understand. Yeah.
Are you working on it?
Okay. Elon, over here. Hi, it's Andre. I'm speak on behalf of the Dutch Tesla Motors Club Forum, and we'd like to thank you for your coming. And it's been a wonderful car. And I have 1 or 2 questions. One is that are you aware that in the Netherlands there's a company called FastNed? They have about 200 SuperChargers or FastNed chargers, a permit, and they install fast charging stations alongside petrol stations everywhere along the highways. So they have built already 5 of it, and we would like to have maybe the possibility that you share your fast charging protocols with that company, so we can, in the Netherlands, be happy not only when driving with the Tesla Green, but also when charging. We charge with the Tesla Green.
Sure.
So that should be very nice, and these are a capable company. Another thing is that, well, we know you've done an enormous job creating with many hours to do a wonderful job. Also in the Netherlands, we would like to have an applause for the Dutch organization, for Tesla, with all your employees. It's been an enormous task to deliver, I think, about 1,100 cars last year. Thanks to the Dutch government, we all contribute in our payments. We, as a Tesla Motor Club in Holland, would like to give you a little present afterwards. If possible, I will hand you over.
Sure.
So that's my request, and all the questions for you guys.
Actually, just a quick question. What adapter do they use for that?
What do you want?
Well,
whatever you want.
Yes, they have about 3 types. One is type 2, but would only charge with 80 kilometers an hour. So they can do also 400 or 500 kilometers if they are ready to have your protocol. So, and they have Shadima, which goes
50 kilowatt.
50 kilowatt, and another combined adapter also with 50 kilowatt.
Okay.
So only the type 2, which we only can use, they have only 60 ampere, so that's 80 kilowatts or something.
Yeah, but they're using ABB chargers, and they basically and ABB wants to basically support your platform. So you can have 200 fast chargers in the Netherlands.
Yes.
So that saves you money because
But really, again, we would like to have the Tesla Green when we charge. Not only by the SuperChargers, but also on the FastNet chargers.
Yeah.
So please.
They're coming here for you.
Okay.
And ABB's fast charger is a Dutch company.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, and I'll see you afterwards for the signing and some gifts. Thank you.
All right.
Hello.
But could you comment?
Hello.
I mean, it's hard for me to comment just off the cuff, without knowing more information. But if they're able to use, if the CHAdeMO charger is there, they can do 50 kilowatts, then when the CHAdeMO adapter is ready in 3 months, then you'll be able to use those charge stations. And for the SuperCharger hardware itself, it's not just a question of protocol. I mean, it's a highly specialized charger that we build at the Tesla factory, and we're producing them at maximum rate. It's not really a protocol thing. So and we want to deploy them and have them be free to use, which generally when we talk to third parties, they don't want to make a donation to Tesla. So that's the issue. So, yeah.
Hello, Elon. Hi. My name's Robert Howe. I'm a probably psychotically addicted Model S driver,
right.
to an helpful extent. I have a few questions. I like, from what you've heard, from what you've said about focus, it sounds great, focus on the things that's important. I'm interested to get your thoughts on the software downgrades that we've had recently.
Oh, yeah.
The suspension, the charging, etc., etc. Yeah? And also, as an extension of that, I'd be interested to know what you think about what features of the car we own when we buy it. Yeah? If we buy a car with suspension that lowers and you disable it, how does that relate to us as an owner? Yeah?
Yeah, well, safety is always paramount. So the reason that we temporarily disabled lowering and changed the charge current, made it more sensitive, is because we were concerned about safety. I mean, admittedly, these are very rare corner cases and they're extremely unusual. But as a temporary measure, we wanted to just make, do the safest thing possible. With version 6 of the software that's coming out very soon, you will be able to lower your car again. Well, actually, technically the car does lower. It only does so at 160 kilometers an hour.
In Germany, it does.
Right. Well, yeah, you don't have to be in Germany. So with version 6, you'll be able to set what speed you'd like the lowering transition to be. So you can actually set it to be always low if you want. Or you can set it to be a threshold speed. So we'll restore that functionality, and actually it'll be better than it was before, because you can actually have it lower at lower speeds, or pick whatever speed you want. And it'll also allow manual transitions whenever you want. So if you press it to do a manual transition, it'll stay in that mode until you change your mind, which currently it won't allow manual transitions at most speeds. So that'll get quite a bit better than with version 6, which is only a few weeks away. And then the charging as well. As we gain more data and we investigate the various things in the field, we see, okay, how can we be sure that it's safe, but improve the charging again, then we'll re-enable that as well. So it's really, I mean, our paramount objective is safety. So that's the motivation behind the software updates. So it is, I mean, fair to say that it's going to be one step backwards and two steps forward.
Can you tell more about version 6? What's in there?
I've given a lot of hints about version 6, I think. It's probably the biggest software. It is the biggest software update we've done in a while. So it's a big improvement on many levels.
Ian, my name is Maurice Gerards, NXP Semiconductors, a former colleague of Peter Carlson, by the way. We are very happy to have you here in Europe today, but especially also to have European headquarters in Amsterdam, and Tim and Paula, and the whole team, the Tilburg. How should we in the Netherlands make sure that in your future plans in Europe, you might consider some manufacturing facilities, that we keep that leading position towards the rest of Europe, because we are keen on doing that?
Sure. I think right. We've gotten a lot of support from the Netherlands, and it's been great. So I think keep doing that. I mean, it's really great. I mean, certainly it's helpful on the consumption side to have tax benefits, which they don't need to last forever, but for this critical sort of the next several years is sort of a critical time for the tax credits, and it helps accelerate the advent of electric cars. But overall, we were very happy to have chosen the Netherlands as our European headquarters and to have the Tilburg assembly plant, and our plans are to expand quite a lot. So it's going in the right direction. But thank you for your support, Israel. Yeah.
I'm almost a Tesla owner. I drive about 80 or 90,000 kilometers a year. So in 8 years that will be about 600,000 kilometers. What will it do with the range of the car, and what do you recommend of the maintenance a year? So it's quite a challenge, so the range is important for me.
Sure. there's very little maintenance needed per year.
Only 700 euros.
That's about 4 times 700 euros for me then, because it's 20,000 kilometers, and it's about 4 times.
Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of maintenance that's really needed. I think we probably 700 euros is probably a bit too high, so we need to revisit that.
So that's 2,800 euros a year for me then, with my mileage.
Oh, I'm not sure I understand what you mean by the 2,800 euros.
Because it's every 20,000 kilometers, 700
no,
euros.
don't worry about that.
And so then it's 4 times.
No, definitely don't worry about it every 20,000 kilometers, no. No worry about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
He asked, what is the range? How will the range be?
After 8 years, with 600,000 kilometers on the clock, what's the range of the battery then?
No, 600,000 kilometers is a lot.
You have warranty.
I mean, how do you give me a new battery if it's less than 80%?
That's a good question.
I mean, it's a bit like, the reason like gasoline cars also have a limitation is if there are extreme cases where it's, where it's way beyond normal driving, the fact of the matter is everything wears out with use, right? So, in terms of the cycle life of the pack, at least in the lab, we see the pack lasting, 500, like an 85 kilowatt hour pack lasting 500,000 kilometers, no problem.
With 80% range.
Where are we at?
So if you have 8,
probably not 80%. Probably, but that's a crazy amount of.
But you can promise me it will be on 80%, and otherwise you will give me a new battery?
It's not going to happen.
No, I'm sorry. It should still work, but I'm not. Honestly, that's pretty high up there. So I'm not sure what it would be in reality. It would still certainly be functional, but probably less than 80% at 600,000 kilometers.
Maybe one of the things to focus on is driving the car more miles in a shorter calendar period of time saves you a huge amount of additional dollars on gasoline.
That's right.
You can buy a new one.
You save the cost of maybe 2 new battery packs. So that's where you actually do get a much better financial benefit by driving the car more miles sooner.
Right.
That's true. But you get a warranty, so I was true.
So what is the warranty? You have 8 years warranty, but what is the guarantee?
There's not a specific battery capacity guarantee. Historically we've seen it be very good. It's beat our expectations, but you can't state a specific capacity rating under all conditions, because you have to say, well, it's just like a car engine. Can you say exactly when a car engine is going to wear out? It depends on how hard it's driven, what the circumstances are, what the maintenance was, and all that sort of stuff. So I think for most people, this is really not going to be an issue. If someone is an extreme user, it certainly will wear out maybe sooner. On the other hand, as JB was saying, the savings in petroleum, petrol costs will be enormous, particularly in Europe, actually. So okay, so just 2 more questions.
Hi, Elon. My name is René. Thank you for bringing us Motoring 3.0. That's what I want to start with. You're doing a great job with rolling out the SuperCharger network in Europe. Next week I'm going to Nuremberg, stopping by most SuperChargers for, I think, each half an hour, which makes it great. But I think for the Netherlands, it's only a small country, but it still would make it perfect if we would have 1 or 2 more SuperChargers here, one in the south, east, and one more up north. Is that a plan, or will it be put on the map?
Good question.
Yeah, I think you can expect that there's going to be SuperChargers with very high density in all of the Benelux region. With very high density. Like you wouldn't even have to think about it.
There will be more in the Netherlands then.
Yes, absolutely, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so last question.
Yeah, my name is Rick. I'm from Tilburg. So you usually when I'm drive home, I make a little tour to see all the cars over there. I follow the company for 10 years now, I think. So as a teenager, I started to follow the idea and made my dad so crazy he just bought one. So.
All right, cool.
My question is actually about the careers, because I'm finishing up my studies. I'm graduating in 6 months, logistics, and I'm already applying, but I still didn't get a response. And I tried to call. They always redirect me to the website, which the status is not changing.
Right, it's a loop.
Yeah, it's a loop. So it's good fish.
Yeah.
Give him your card.
Okay. Sure, I'll take your card. Absolutely.
So can you help me out with that?
Sure. With your card or information, I'll make sure that you get a response. All right, thanks everyone.